I would like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustee meeting for May 20th at 6:04. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dan Gaffney. Here. Michelle Ginn. Here. Dan Green.
Here.
Mary Kimber. Here. Alex McFadden-Kiesling.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Ann Rose.
Here.
Here.
I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Okay, who's second? Okay, good. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as presented. Any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Call to the public.
Yes. The May book sale brought in just over $9,000 this time. We had 50 volunteers and 554 hours to attain $9,000.
Congratulations.
The holiday sale is now going to be called the Holiday Boutique Sale because this year we're going to have books and handbags. Wallets, coin purses, whatever, those of you who would like to donate, we would greatly appreciate it. The Holiday Boutique Sale will be Saturday, December 7th. It will be from 10 to 2 p.m.
Are you looking for new items as far as the wallets and
New,
purses?
like slightly used.
Okay.
We have several people already anxious to see what we put out, so we hope it does well.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is take advantage of the nice economy that we have right now
And the
and
time-
perhaps come up with extra
Time
things
is
for the
just
library.
before Christmas, yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you. Any other comment? Call to the public is closed at 6:06. The consent agenda has 6 items on it. I'll accept a motion to approve it as presented. So moved. Second. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Library statistics.
Okay, so you have your usual statistics tonight, but you also have some extra statistics in there, and those are the ones I'm going to talk about a little bit. Hoopla downloads by month, which is this handout right here. For January 2017 through April 2019, you can see that it has continued to grow over time. Brad presented this at our staff meeting, and I thought you would enjoy it as well. See how much that particular service has grown. The next one is Overdrive downloads by month, and that one also from 2017 until 2019 has grown significantly over the course of time. This one is really interesting. Overdrive downloads by library. In January of 2017, we were the 7th highest users of our Overdrive system. We're in a collaboration of almost 50 libraries. And most of those libraries that are above us in line there are larger. By 2019, which is the last sheet that Brad has provided us, we are now number 4, and the 3 libraries, Livonia, Novi, and Ypsilanti, that are above us are all Class 6 libraries. So we are getting great usage of those services. People are really enjoying those. We attribute that to the great marketing that we've been doing. Staff works really hard on that, and also the board funding it so well. So thank you very much for that as well.
Excellent. All right. Library Director's Report.
All kinds of things to talk about tonight. First item, on April 23rd and 24th, the library's new auditor, Gabridge & Company, conducted the field work on the library's audit. This process went very smoothly. We were able to provide all the needed information and are currently waiting for the draft of our audit. We anticipate our audit presentation will take place this summer. Next item, the Library of Michigan has created a group of librarians across the state to be part of a library data group. This committee will assist the statewide services team in assessing the type of library data that should be gathered at the state level each year and how to report this data to maximize its usefulness and impact. We strive to be a data-driven library, so I attended the Research Institute for Public Libraries conference last year. I do have a background in statistics and also used to work with the statewide services team that is gathering this insight. For these reasons, I feel like this project is a great fit for our library and a good use of my time. So I have joined this committee. Our first meeting will take place later this week.
Okay. Where are they going to meet, in Lansing?
We're doing it online this first meeting,
Okay.
but there will be other meetings that will take place in Lansing. So this first initial meeting will be an easy one, right from my desk, which makes it even better use of my time.
But that sounds like a really good.
I'm really excited about it. This is coming from Joe Hamlin, who is the person who does the state aid report. So he's the one who conducts that every year. And there's always been, even when I worked with Library of Michigan, there was a lot of conversation about, do we really need to collect all of this? Are there better things we should be collecting? And he's the consultant for Michigan, and then there's also a consultant for every other state in the country. And so they come together as a conference every year and determine what should be on there. And this is the first time the Library of Michigan has gone out to the libraries and said, what do you feel would be valuable? So I'm really excited about that.
Well, and I think that it's really important because that's information that we look at when
Yep.
we're planning budgets and you know, personnel items. And
It is.
And at the state level, they don't know what it is that your board is asking to see.
Exactly.
So I think that's really going to be good for, in both directions. It will be good for us, and it's good that we're able to make a contribution.
And I think that Joe is really good at listening to the libraries, and I think that's when he realized that he needed more input from statewide the librarians just to find out what it is we really want to collect and how we use it.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
On May 9th, the library hosted a Chamber of Commerce Business Over Breakfast event. This was a great networking opportunity for local businesses and another chance for them to see our new business center and other library services. Approximately 50 people attended. The food and door prizes were sponsored by the Friends of the Library. Our business and marketing librarian did a wonderful job with the choreography of this event, and the chamber was also very pleased with the outcome. That was really fun.
Nice attendance.
It was great attendance.
Yeah.
It was
It sounds
very early, but it was fun. On May 31st, the Michigan Library Association will hold its annual executive summit at the Library of Michigan in Lansing. This is a conference specifically designed for library leaders. You'll maybe remember that I've been part of the planning committee for this event, which focuses on succession planning. The day will feature a keynote presentation by James Lewis of Michigan Business Consultants. In addition, there will be 2 panel discussions, one regarding internal versus external candidates, and the other covering how to find good candidates to fill key leadership roles. So I'm really excited about this event, and it's been really fun to be part of the planning process for this one.
And another good use of everyone's time.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be good.
Excellent.
Yeah. In terms of project updates, as discussed last month, the library's fire suppression system needed to have the compressor replaced and significant repairs done. Both of these items have been taken care of and the system is functional again. However, there were some upgrades that the fire marshal requested that we are still waiting for the company to complete, including an adjustment to the water pressure gauge and the replacement of the Stort's cap, which is outside the building. The fire marshal has been assisting us with encouraging the contractor to prioritize this work. We're leaning on his badge a little to try and get this done, because once they got the actual repairs done, they wanted to kind of sit on their haunches, but we also haven't paid the bill until they get all the other work done. So
Yes.
so if they want to get paid. Okay. Next item, work on Clarkston High School construction trades class. They are continuing on the shed on the west side of the building. We are in the home stretch as the shingles and door have been installed and the trim has been painted. The students are currently working on the siding. We are looking forward to the completion of this project, and our lead custodian is working on the internal layout to maximize this much needed storage space.
And from your office, it looks very nice.
I thought it was funny that they did the side that I can see first. Somebody walked up and they're like, oh, the whole thing is sided. I'm like, no, just this side. We'll walk around, it's a little plain on the other side.
Just as we drive by, I always look to see, is it still Tyvek or do we have siding yet?
It's looking really, really good
It
though,
is.
and Arlene was the one who selected the color palette for it, and it coordinates beautifully with the building, so it's really nice. We're pleased with the way it's coming out. In terms of collaborations, as you know, the Clarkston Area Lions Club has been conducting vision screenings for children on the second Saturday of each month at the library for the past several years. In addition to this important volunteer work, our local Lions Club also supports library services that assist our patrons with vision challenges. Each year, they donate $500 toward Overdrive, the library's downloadable service that provides ebooks and audiobooks. Our Friends of the Library group matches this donation, so $1,000 is added to this service. We are grateful that both groups have collaborated on this generous gift again this year. So,
Excellent.
yep, that money will go through Brad into that account, and he will use it for expanding that service. Next item, Independence Township DPW has completed the installation of the bikeway station along the safety path near the library's driveway. This project, approved by the library board last year, could not be completed before winter, but was a priority for this spring. The way station includes a new bench and a bike rest. Several of these stations have been added throughout the township, and we are pleased to be included in this project. I don't know if you've seen, but there's
It looks
also one
nice.
down by the fire station and
And there's one by the cemetery.
by the cemetery. Yeah, they're really nice.
They
They're
are.
really nice, and they got it done lickety-split once the weather broke, so yeah, it's good too. On the last weekend in April and the first weekend in November, our community comes together to serve as part of Impact Weekend. Approximately 800 volunteers participate in each event, including work at community gardens, food pantries, raking leaves for seniors, and assisting nonprofit organizations with their projects, such as the library's book sale. We are grateful for the assistance we receive on this project. In the fall, when the book sale does not coincide with Impact Weekend, the library hosts a letter writing program in which we invite the community to compose letters to first responders and soldiers thanking them for their service. So we also help with the promotion of the project throughout the year. So those are the things that we do in terms of collaboration. But this is a great program, so we're excited to be part of it. The Clarkston Community Awards Breakfast will take place on Tuesday, May 21st, tomorrow, at 7:30 a.m. at Clarkston Community Church. In its 34th year, the library is honored to be part of the planning of this annual celebration that recognizes the people and organizations that make Clarkston a great place to live, play, and do business. So we'll be part of that again. And the last one, this is really sweet, this last one. The American Rosie the Riveter Association recognizes and preserves the history and legacy of working women during World War II. One of the ways they do this is by planting a special Rosie the Riveter rose bush honoring specific individual women. These roses are planted in public locations and include a plaque with the name of the woman being honored. We have been asked to host a Rosie the Riveter rose bush for a local individual and are currently working on placing our rose bush and coordinating a way to recognize our Rosie. So, we're super excited. Yeah. So we'll know more about that later when we know.
Excellent. Things are moving along.
Things are moving along, always something going on.
Let us move to regular business. Our records retention digitalizing proposal.
Okay. To digitize the library's financial records, a committee was formed to investigate the options. This team includes the IT manager, the library director, and Erica Cloutier, who's one of our administrative assistants. We were presented with digital storage, scanning, indexing, and reproduction quotes from Stover Imaging and Ameriscan. They are both Michigan-based scanning solution companies. We were prompted by the Records Management Department at the state of Michigan to look into storage costs by simply storing the boxes off-site versus digitizing. We contacted Royal Oak Storage for their pricing. However, if we needed to access a document, it would require travel to the facility or wait until our request for that document needed could be accessed by them and then scanned back to us. We were also presented with a cloud solution called DocuWare. The team all agreed that the investment of software was not needed based on the number of boxes we have prepared now, and also what we will send out for retention going forward. After discussing the physical storage of the boxes with our team, we decided digitization to a flash hard drive is the preferred and cost-effective option. We have agreed upon a lockbox as the method of outside storage for additional flash drive, hard drive we receive. In terms of budget, this project can be funded with a budget adjustment from undesignated revenue. We didn't know that we would be doing this year for sure, so we didn't put money in the budget specifically for it. And at this point, I will turn it over to Erica, and she will tell you about all the work she's been working on. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm a little nervous. This is my first time presenting, so I don't
We don't mind.
Told you.
So you have all the information in front of you, and hopefully you have a few minutes to review, or sometime this weekend to review it. But over the course of the last few months, we've been putting together this document retention and digitizing proposal. The purpose of document and record retention is to safeguard the organization's data to be sure it is properly scanned and retained for the correct length of time per the state of Michigan's general schedule for libraries. By retaining our documents on digital storage, we are ensuring that our records are easily accessible and sensitive records are stored correctly. We have already been changing some of our filing network workflow in our administrative office to be sure that as time goes by, as we're ready to box things up and send them out next time, they will be ready to scan and ready to go. And also limiting our staples, limiting extra sheets of paper, those kind of things that we'll be more aware of going forward. I'm sure you've reviewed the documents and proposal, and if you have any questions, I would love to answer them.
I'd like to thank you for a lot of information.
Yes.
I tried to make it in layman's
That's
terms.
supposed to be a compliment.
Okay.
I was able to read through it and answer all my questions with, oh, here it says right here, as I was reading the original proposal. So it was a very good presentation.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else?
Okay, are there any questions?
No, other
It's
than,
very clear.
as you know, I did look at it because we
Yes,
talked about it
yes.
partway through the process, and you very nicely answered all of my concerns, and good work to Bill too. I know he was in on
Yes.
the offsite storage because that was a concern for me.
Yes.
So good job, you guys. And
You'll be hearing more from him about backup in the next item.
Right, and the timing is excellent, because this is the time period when we need to be in that cycle.
Yes,
So-
and then everything will be prepped for next year when everything can go 2018 can be stored off-site. Because pretty much, if you look at the state of Michigan retention record, everything is pretty much 1 year would stay on site, and everything else would be sent off for digitizing if we were required to keep it. And some things are 6 years, some things are 7 years, some things are forever. So
Just like home.
exactly.
Same decisions we have to make.
All right, I will accept a motion.
I move to approve the proposal from Ameriscan and approve a budget adjustment of $3,360 from undesignated revenue to line 818, which is professional and contract services.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the proposal from Ameriscan, approve a budget adjustment of $3,360 from undesignated revenue to line 818, the professional and contract services. Are there any other comments or questions? We'd like to thank you for an excellent job. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Now, discussion of backup.
All right, as part of the document retention project that will be presented during the meeting, which you just heard, and thank you so much for doing that, the IT manager has been reviewing backup procedures across all of CIDL's services. This is a presentation on procedures that are currently in place, along with questions and discussion of future possibilities. So, I will turn this over to Mr. Bowman.
Well, you have a copy of what I was going to just talk about, the title as you saw, Backup to the Future.
I like that.
See, I knew they would get it.
Very good.
So,
Reflects the age.
what's that? What? Okay. But basically what I was saying is that backup has changed over the time that I have been here as the IT manager. We started out when I was first here with tape backup, which is probably it's still used in some places today, but it's not really easy to recover. It's slow. It takes up a lot of physical room and a lot of those different things. So, and it's time intensive for people because you sometimes have to swap tapes out in the middle of a backup because the amount of data you have is just way too much to put on there. So we've changed our backup as we've increased our services and increased our complexity in our networks. So I did put in here that we started moving all of our servers virtually in 2015. It was actually in 2010 that I started that. And then I actually made it a proper virtual environment in 2015. I forgot to mention that, and I forgot that as I was going along. Like I said, you have this, I assume you've read it, I don't want to read it again to you. If you have questions about what's going on, we have a lot of services on that second page. There's a wider, it's like for me, it's a 8.5 by 14. I don't know if it was printed 8.5 by 14 or not.
8.5 by 11, and then I gave you a bigger version of it tucked in there so that you can, it's the same thing, it's just bigger.
Bigger.
Easier to read.
Older
For these old
eyes,
tired eyes, yes.
I printed an 8.5 by 14 myself, so.
When I scanned it, it went 8.5 by 11, and so I just printed an extra one. Tucked it in your packet. I couldn't get it to make 8.5 by 14.
But you'll see that on the information sheet, not everything is being backed up, actually. The essential services are the ones that are being backed up to the Veeam solution that we have in place. But there were some of the servers that we were either using for testing purposes, or they're just trivial to replace. They're trivial to recreate. So I didn't worry about backing them up. It would take actually longer to restore them than it would to just make another one. Like the Minecraft server, for example. It takes about 20 minutes to rebuild one. It wouldn't take me very long to take care of that.
That is amazing.
What's that? What's that?
I said, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Just 20 minutes.
That's why, the whole virtual server thing makes creation of new equipment, creation of new servers actually really quick and easy. Much quicker than buying a new machine, bringing it into the building, installing everything on it, and all that stuff. It's just, you just go through and you say, this is a Windows computer. And it goes, all right, cool. And off we go. So and then I install the little software that I need and we're good to go. There is a series at the bottom of services that are cloud-based. They're already in the cloud. And all of those services claim that they are being backed up on their hardware. Okay. However, we don't have control over those backups directly. Like, for example, the QuickBooks software is, they according to their website, it's backed up to 2 separate hard drives, but we can't do rollbacks if we had to, if we screwed something up and had to go all the way back several days. They only have access to the most recent backup, for example. And so there are services that work with our QuickBooks that would allow us to do that. So I was just looking at some of those sorts of things as possible future purchases. The same thing with our email. Our email, it's owned by Microsoft. They do back stuff up, but things can happen. And then also does not, we set up retention schedules for email in there as well, except actually right now everything is being retained forever instead of, which is why we have.
Shift that later.
We can, but I mean, it was simpler, and that way we can go all the way back to when, for our email. I mean, my emails go back to 2007, so I have 11 years worth of email available to me as I need it. I think Julie's goes back further than that, to be honest. Yes, 2006 or 2005 at least.
2006, yeah.
And then one of the solutions that we're looking at for the record retention is the Documents on Demand. That's the company that Ameriscan that they do their cloud storage. Again, they back up, but we also get physical backups from them when we do a massive update. And I can do a bulk download to our own servers if I need to for backup purposes. But these are all, and then the library board videos, I have them backed up on DVD. Because I basically will take, well, what I do is I take the files that Independence Television gives me, I upload them to YouTube so that we can then post them to our Documents on Demand site, and then I archive a group of them onto a DVD, which is then set aside. It'll probably go in the lockbox once we have it, actually.
I was going to say, that would be the kind of document we would.
That was probably something, yeah. But I mean, it is on YouTube, I mean, and they're YouTube, so.
So in theory, it's always out there, never going away.
In theory, correct.
Right.
But with any sort of digital data, the biggest problem with retention of digital data is how long you need to keep it. Because the longer you keep a piece of data in a particular format, eventually the way it was made ceases to exist.
Right.
So I know you've all gone through that with
Right.
Windows in particular. You know, we've had Windows XP stop support back in 2012, I think.
Something like that.
And now it'd be laughable to have a Windows XP machine at your house, you know, or anywhere in a business. And some of the standards that people use for video are no longer supported. So you can't get a VHS player really at this point. So these pieces of data need to still be backed up, and also their method of creation. So that's why the YouTube, as long as we have YouTube, we've got access to those videos.
Right.
So,
I mean, and in theory, those are probably not the kind of record that the state is going to say you have to keep them forever anyways.
correct.
So,
But their retention schedule is pretty cryptic
Well,
along the way.
Everything we do is on paper as well. Everything is, our notes are all typed up and our,
right.
everything's going to be retained. It's already on Documents on Demand on our website. So it's not, I don't know what the video, or the, I don't know what the video portion of it is, the retention schedule. But the
The
written.
nice thing about
would
the
be-
video piece of it is that we're not taking transcribed minutes. So the video allows for that level of detail. You can go back and watch it.
Right, what was the intention?
Yes.
If all you have is a record of the motion and the vote on the motion,
Absolutely.
you don't necessarily get the intention of the discussion.
why we
So it is
started
good for that
videos.
kind of.
Because transcribed minutes would be very complicated and expensive to create.
Well, they are very expensive, and then that opens you up to a whole other thing, because then it has to be exact. If you are doing a transcription,
Yep.
it has to be word for word, and that gets really cumbersome. If you don't keep your records that way, then there's no requirement to keep your records that way.
And videotaping is the nice
Right.
thing about that allows us to have these kinds of minutes. Makes it a little easier.
That works. If they decide we have to keep something, they need to transcribe the old method to the new method.
Mhm.
I mean, there has to be that availability if they want us to keep something
Right.
beyond the life of that format.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, then that's another thing later on, like eventually we may have to look at either transcribing it or transcoding something from one type of a
Right,
media
right.
to another if it comes
But that
down
would
to it.
only then, again, apply to those certain things like payroll records. I know you have to keep those for like ever,
Right.
practically, and certain types of records that have to be kept for a very, very long period of time. Other things, mostly you can get rid of them in 5 years, 6 years, whatever.
Well, and that's the format that all these files will be returned to us in is PDF, the portable document format,
Okay,
which
so
has been a
that's-
standard
Yeah,
basically since the early 90s.
right.
We've had PDFs and they've
And it
never
works
changed.
quite well, so
It
it's
works
not
great,
likely to
yes,
change.
It's not likely to change.
Yeah.
Because you can get a reader for that software on every computer system in every language, no matter what operating system, no matter where you are, you can get a reader for free to see those files. So that's one of the reasons that's been hanging around for so long, is because everybody can see it, no matter what.
Bill, is there anything on here that you were thinking that you wanted to potentially address going forward? Things that you were thinking about coming back to ask for?
Mostly the cloud services. The cloud services, I want to start looking at backup processes that I can have control over. For example, the Veeam software we have right now has a second module that does the email system. So I could implement the email backup directly into our own backup, so that, I know it's kind of weird, but it would go from one cloud service to another cloud service as backup. I know. Yeah, I know. It's
Well,
just-
but the thing, because one of the things that can happen, I think, with like emails, is if you're trying to look for the way it existed at a certain point in time, and they're backing them up, and as they're backing up today's, earlier backup versions are being replaced with a
Correct.
new backup version. So it's more difficult if that's the type of backup you have, to be able to say, what did it look like on this exact date.
Correct.
Where if you're controlling it, you.
I can keep the number of backups I need
Right.
to fulfill any sort of
Right.
recall problem we might have. So, I mean, like right now, many of the systems are backed up either weekly or daily and are kept for either 2 weeks or
Right.
2 months.
Which is fine for almost everything, but there are circumstances where you
definitely.
might need to recreate a particular.
A particular date, correct.
So you want to investigate this because I'm sure it's not free.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Some of them are very reasonable, though, like, for example, the QuickBooks Onlines, they generally work out to about, according to all the ones that I've seen, they're about $10 a month per company. So we have one company file, so it would be $10 for that. Last I looked, the email, I don't remember the email when we're off the top of my head, but it was several $100s. Not an exorbitant amount of money, but it is a recurring cost that will come up every year that will be added into our other contract that we already have. The one that I don't know, other than, like I said, the documents on demand, they don't have a direct backup method that I have found, but so that, like I said, I'd have to do a bulk download if I wanted to bring stuff back down that because like with what we're doing with the document retention thing, that we're going to hand them a bunch of boxes and they're going to hand me back a hard drive that contains all of the data that we gave them. So that's going to be our backup. It will sit in a safe deposit box that will then, every year or every period of time that we send up more boxes, we will either get another one or they will reuse that one and give us the current without the other stuff on it. That's the intention that we have at this point. Same thing happened when we were doing the newspapers, for example. The newspapers which are backed up, they are on the Oakland County, the OCHR website. So they're holding onto it, but we have a backup of them on a hard drive internally.
So as you investigate this, we can expect to hear from you when we're planning next year's budget.
Yes,
Thank you.
that is the plan.
Is there anything that you think is pressing that you think you're going to come back to the board with before the end of the year, or is this all stuff that we can write into 2020, do you think?
The QuickBooks Online, I may bring back within a month or two, because I think that's one of the ones that's most important. The other ones they can roll into, a budget for next year. But that's that one because it's financial data. I don't want to leave it alone as long as I can.
Feels like it's dangling if you don't handle it.
Right. I don't want it to, have any issues that we can't recover from.
Excellent. Okay. All right, we'll be expecting to hear from you. That's fine. Are there any other questions for Bill?
Thank you.
Thank you, very clear. Let's move on to electrical work for the circulation office.
Okay. At the March 18th, 2019 meeting, the library board approved the circulation office proposal. At that time, it was discussed that we would need to have an electrician make some adjustments to do the lighting and electrical in that area. But we plan to have that quoted separately. Since that time, we've had Allied, our facilities maintenance company, review and quote the work that needs to be done. Included in the packet is a detailed list of the tasks that need to be completed for a total of $1,990. In terms of funding this, earlier this year, the library board allocated a budget to be spent for the new business area. Thanks to generous donations made by local businesses, approximately $6,500 of these funds were not needed to complete that project. Thus, there is sufficient funds in line 975 to execute the needed electrical work for this project. So I'm just asking that you approve the payment of $1,990 from line 975.
Have they already done this?
They have, yep.
All right, I'll accept the motion.
I move to approve the quote from Allied Building Services for $1,990 to complete the electrical work for the circulation office, to be paid from line 975 building.
Second. Some quiet person down there.
Allison was It's been moved and seconded that we approve the quote from Allied Building Services for $1,990 to complete the electrical work for the circulation office to be paid from line item 975. Are there any other comments or questions? I did see someone working up there the other day.
We're trying to keep it on target. We need the project done before summer reading starts.
One question, does this include the new office, the circulation office?
The office you already approved separately, we just didn't have the electrical work included.
Right, I mean, does this work would be included with that?
This is an additional $1,990, but because we've got the money there from the business center, we don't need to allocate anything additional. You just need to give me permission to spend it for that purpose, since that wasn't its original purpose.
Thank you. Okay. In that case, everyone who is in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Now, the review and approval of the delivery door
This one's
replacement.
exciting, okay. I'm back again with door conversations. As part of the 2017 capital improvement plan, the library board identified 2 sets of exterior doors, both the main entrance and the delivery door on the west side of the building, as priority items for replacement. Both sets of doors are original to the building, which is 1992, have significant wear and have had repeated issues with being secured and/or locked. Both have been repeatedly repaired, and those repairs have become more difficult since the parts are getting harder to get. At that time, several companies were asked to review these projects. Most turned us down due to the distance, or that the project, it was simply a project they weren't interested in doing. We were able to, at that time, we were able to secure 2 bids for the delivery doors. We awarded the contract, and that company filed for bankruptcy prior to completing the project. Since then, we have investigated other options and have found Motor City Door Company, based in Sterling Heights, as a company that is well respected and came highly recommended by a neighboring library that had their main entrance replaced last year. Their quote is similar to the bids we received previously, only $137 more, and have the added appeal of a strong reference from a trusted source for a similar type of project. There is sufficient balance in undesignated revenue to fund this project. A budget adjustment to 975 could be made to accommodate this project in 2019. So basically what we're talking about this is the delivery doors on the west end of the building. These are big steel doors. You'll remember potentially from conversation before that the frame that it's in is gigantic and it's custom. Previously, the company had talked about the possibility of redoing the whole thing, taking out the whole frame, putting in a new frame, new doors, whatever. This company said, no, let's not do that. Let's replace the doors. And the reason we don't want to do the frame is because the frame was built right into the building. He said, if I take it out and put a new one in, it will never be as sturdy as what was originally installed. So what he has proposed is to take out the old doors, completely sand down the frame, put in a new base for it, redo everything that the doors will hang on, put in continuous hinges, and then get these new doors. The cost is essentially the same, but it's not a whole new framework. It's still secured in the old framework, which is original to the building. So the total for that, as you can see in this, is $4,987. Delivery on this project is 2 to 3 weeks. It would be a 50% deposit with the balance cash on delivery. As we talked about previously, the type of doors they want to put in, I don't know if you remember, there's a large pane in the top of this casement that I believe when the building was built had intended to be glass. Glass, a piece that big would be very expensive, and when the building, when money started to get tight at the end of the project, they decided not to put in glass, they put in steel. It gets very, very dark in that delivery room.
Yes.
The power goes out, even with the security lights and everything, it gets pretty dark. So what we suggested, and also in terms of security, are those little narrow sort of, you've seen them in commercial doors, little shotgun windows with the wire in them crisscrossed in those doors, so that not only can you see out, if somebody were to knock on the door, you'd be able to look, but also a little bit of light would come in, so it maybe won't be quite so, you can't even see your hand in front of your face, dark back there, if anything happens.
I especially like the ability to see out.
Yes, because
That's important.
it's scary to open a door when you don't
Absolutely.
know who is on the other side.
Absolutely. So that is the project as proposed by Motor City Door Company.
Ah, finally. Okay.
Don't say that till they're
That's true. We thought this was final.
It looks promising now. It looks really promising.
I take that back. Sorry. Motion.
I move that we approve the quote from Motor City Door Company for the replacement of the delivery doors as presented and approve a budget adjustment of $5,000 from undesignated revenue to line 975, building.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we do this, that we approve the quote from Motor City Door Company for the replacement of the delivery door as presented, and approve the budget adjustment of $5,000 from undesignated revenue to line 975. Line 975 is getting a workout.
Yes, it is.
A lot of building work needs to
Lot
get
of
done.
building.
Not true either.
No.
No, we're not, the next one's the big one.
Are there any other comments or questions about this, except for keeping our fingers crossed? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Negative, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. Now, number 5.
Okay, so
The
now
front door.
we're talking about the front doors. And I will reiterate that the board identified both sets of doors as being an issue. I skipped down a little bit since it was a little bit of repetition. So one of the main problems that was cited in terms of companies not wanting to do the front doors was the fact that that whole entryway is a custom design and was finished in a custom color that has been fading in the sun for more than 25 years. So we started asking other libraries for suggestions of companies that they had used to replace their entrance doors. It is the Brandon Township Library that had their main entrance door replaced last year and had a similar situation in which their entryway was a custom design and a custom color. They used Motor City Door Company and they were very pleased with the results. The company assisted them in developing a solution for their situation and helped them to select a coordinating rather than matching color to prevent the cost of having to refinish the entire entryway. Included in the packet is the proposal from Motor City Door Company, which focuses the investment on maximizing the durability and functionality of these doors while providing an array of color choices that will prevent us from having to discuss refinishing the entire entryway. Once again, there is sufficient balance in undesignated revenue to fund this project. A budget adjustment to 975 building could be made to accommodate this project. So let's talk a little bit more about what they're suggesting we do at the front. So the issue with the front is it's got these great little panes of glass. It's beautiful, but every company that looked at it said, well, if we redo your doors, we need to refinish all of that metal in order to get matching, and had no interest in doing that project, knowing that we would not be interested in spending that kind of money, which is
exorbitant.
Yes, it's quite accurate. Okay, so what they are recommending for the front door is similar to the back door, just the doors. Same kind of thing, that they will redo that entire framework just around the doors. The base, it has a divider in the middle because that's how it secures. The back door locks into itself, but this has a post in the middle. And what they are recommending is that we select a color that coordinates but does not even attempt to match it. So taking into consideration maybe going a couple of shades, purposefully a couple shades lighter or a couple shades darker, depending on what kind of a look we want with that doorway. These are obviously more expensive because these have great big glass panes in them. The doors that they are suggesting are very much the same as what we currently have. They would do the same thing, continuous hinges so that they're well supported, all that glass. Same kind of thing, the panic bar locking system makes it easy for people to come and go in an emergency, that sort of thing. They've actually given us an array of colors which did not transition very well when I put them in your packet, but you can see that there are lots of choices. And there are a number of choices that are within that family that we could probably find something that would be similar and probably compatible. So, this particular project, far more expensive, $14,314.
Okay. And who would be selecting these colors? You and Arlene?
Not me personally, no, you don't want me doing that. That's not my comfort zone. But we do have a number of people on staff that are good at coordinating colors, and we will get some people together.
So we'll have a
pick.
committee.
Yeah, well, I don't know that it would be a committee, but we've got a few people that are good at it, that have been looking at signage and other things and make sure that we've got the appropriate color combination. The other thing to keep in mind, and I didn't put this in my explanation, but I don't know if you remember that originally when we started talking about this, And we did talk to our facilities maintenance company, and they estimated that front door project to be between $20,000 and $25,000.
I remember that.
Yeah, so this, while it's a bit of a sticker shock, is
Yeah.
far less than what they originally
I
had
can see why some stores don't do it
estimated, yes.
right away when they need to do it.
So a couple of other things that came up, there were questions about automatic doors like at the grocery store, and I don't know if you remember talking about that before, but we have a lot of wildlife, and unless we want deer and turkeys and coyotes in the building joining us,
Okay.
we're gonna go with the same kind of system we have now, where you, sorry guys, you gotta push a button. The other thing that we are going to talk to them about at the same time is, we currently have a system by which you hit that button and it opens both doors, and then you hit the button and it opens both doors, which is essentially like a garage door size, allowing a huge gust of air to come in every time that happens. And so one of the things that I did talk to him about was, they don't do it, but they did recommend bringing Stanley. Stanley is the company that makes those mechanisms that open and close the doors, and having them come in and look at that separately in terms of only opening one door.
Well, because there's a bar in between them anyways, even
Yeah.
if someone is in a wheelchair and needs to get
Yep.
in, opening both doors
It doesn't.
doesn't help
He
anybody.
said the same thing I did. He said, I have no idea why it's designed this way. And we've talked to Stanley before, and my impression is that because the mechanism is so old, they may not be able to reconfigure the one we have. So I may end up having to come back to you with another question about this. Although he suggested I bring in a Stanley-specific representative to look at it and see if it is possible to open it up and reconfigure it in some way where, he said the modern ones, you can tell it whether you want both doors or one door. But we've had Stanley out to work on it before, and they've never done that, so we would need to bring in a rep who would open it up and say whether or not that's possible. They both still function, the opening mechanisms.
Right. But still, it is, I mean,
But
the only reason to have them both open together would be that you could pass through them, but you
Yep.
can't with that bar in the middle, there's,
Right.
No,
Well, you still have just.
right, with the one
And
door,
you still
so.
have to go through and then hit the other button to get the inside.
but the amount of money that we are wasting in heating and cooling when, because we need to be honest about how often this gets opened. This is great fun for our
Constant
little
kids.
kids.
The kids love it.
And all the kids that come in for story time want to open it, so it.
Well, especially because then if one does, then, you know, then
Yeah.
siblings,
Yeah.
I need a turn, yeah.
So we're letting a lot of heat out of our building, and it's so important to have that for the people that need it, but then of course it becomes something that everybody, and they have a right to do that.
Well, and lots of times people coming in and out of libraries are carriers.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
sometimes
absolutely.
it's-
But if we could minimize the amount of the gust,
Absolutely.
we definitely could cut it in half. And maybe make it a little,
Something that should be looked into.
It actually helps that we have two sets of doors.
yes.
Right. So that would minimize it more. It's a little locked area.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little
This
locked, yeah.
is in reference to just the outside doors, not
Just
both
the outside,
sides.
we're not doing,
Okay.
the inside doors are working fine, but then again, they don't have to lock, so.
Right.
They have the ability, I think, to be locked, but we've never needed to because we've just always
Yeah.
locked those outside doors.
So they're just replacing the outside door. So that's what we're looking at. And then, as an adjunct to this, we'll be looking at,
I'll bring in Stanley to look at it, and hopefully it's something that we can just pay a repair. We've got money in the budget for repairs. If it's just a matter of repairing it, and Stanley can come in and take it apart and make some kind of change within the mechanism, we're good to go. If he says, no, this particular unit is too old to do that, then I may need to come back. But I didn't want to ask for that if I don't need to. It's still functional, so.
excellent. Okay, any other questions before we accept a motion? I will accept a motion.
I move to approve the quote by Motor City Door Company for the replacement of the main entry doors as presented, and approve a budget adjustment of $14,500 from undesignated revenue to line 975, building.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the quote by Motor City Door Company for the replacement of the main entry doors as presented, and approve a budget adjustment of $14,500 from undesignated revenue to line 975. All right. Any other comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Good, motion is carried.
This one, does list a delivery time of 6 to 8 weeks, so my anticipation is the back door will get done first, and then the front door will probably be done in the fall sometime.
Before it gets cold.
Hopefully,
Cold gusts.
I'm gonna try. I thought it was gonna be done 2 years ago, so.
All right, and so we'll hope that everyone can be looking at color schemes
Indeed, indeed.
that will match all of our
Yep.
plans. All right. In that case, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried, and the meeting is adjourned at 6:54.
Yeah?
Okay.